Tag TV, and Tag Radio. Technology now has a voice of innovation and information. Get it on www.tagtvonline.com. From education and the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Initiative to Startup Capital for forming new small technology businesses, knowledge-based workforce development to dynamic outreach projects to bring advanced technology capability to remote areas across Georgia. It's all about the state of the technology industry, and it's become the hot topic during this session of the General Assembly of Georgia. As the House and the Senate weigh just how important technology is to the future economic success of our state, we continue our special Tech Talk Legislative Session 09 series and again share the insights and vision of our state's top elected officials as well as TAG's own legislative task force leaders. Science, technology, education, investment, infrastructure, workforce development, the near economy, and beyond. Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, February 3rd, 2009, and this is Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. Our Tech Talk Special Legislative Session 09 series greets State Senator Cecil Staton, Chairman of the Science and Technology Committee for the Georgia Senate. Senator Staton is also a member of the Veterans and Military Affairs, Higher Education, Appropriations, and Transportation Committees. What about last year's Retirement Systems Investment Authority and the use of retirement money for venture capital? Is there more to hear about green IT and plans for technology infrastructure investment in the state's university system? From economic forecasts for technology in our state to the future impact of economic growth investment due to the current financial crisis, Tino Tech Talks the state of technology industry in Georgia today and in the future with Chairman of the Science and Technology Committee, Senator Cecil Staton.
Senator Staton, thank you for joining me on Tech Talk.
Thank you, Tino. Good to be with you.
We really appreciated speaking for our TAG membership of 6,000 and our 16,000 folks in the database, your leadership on the Science and Technology Committee for the Senate.
Well, it's a fun committee to serve on and always very interesting because of the importance of science and technology in our state.
Well, let's jump in. Recently, Green IT Study Committee has been established by the Senate, Science and Technology Committee, to study green ways to recycle, reuse old, outdated technology. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's behind this and what you hope to achieve?
Well, this was the very first bill that the Science and Technology Committee took up in the 2009 session. And I think it's just basically we want to know more about the best ways for us to get involved in terms of dealing with technology from a green perspective. We know other states have taken some leadership in this area. We're concerned about, as many in the industry are, all the IT devices that are out there, old computers and handheld devices and other kinds of things, and finding out what to do with them. We obviously don't want them to end up in the dump. Some of the things can be recycled, and so we want to take just a clearer look at this, and establishing a study committee is one of the ways to do it. So hopefully after the session we'll have our study committee members appointed, and we'll take a look at that between now and the session in 2010 and see if there's some ways that we can be proactive in dealing with this very important issue.
Well, the broader aspects of technology, I had a chance, really a privilege to present yesterday at the, actually as this goes on the radio program, it'll be a week or so, but had an opportunity to present the state of the industry. Did you have any takeaways from that in respect to Georgia, where we stand, and what we need to do to move forward?
Well, Tino, we very much appreciated your being there and getting the update. I think one of the things that's very important for us to do in the General Assembly is to help educate our members, because we're all citizen legislators, and we may be on the Science and Technology Committee, but that doesn't mean all of our members are experts by any means in the area. So it's just fundamentally a very important thing to do to make sure our members understand where we are in this state and the huge impact that technology is having in our state and upon our economy. I mean, I think for some of our committee members it was important for them to learn that Atlanta is 10th in terms of the rankings of cities in our country with respect to the importance of technology and technology jobs. And, it's also important for them to know that there are over 180,000 jobs, I believe you told us, in this area for Georgia. And, it's good for us to know how we're doing with respect to other states in the country. But obviously, to me, the most important thing is just how impressive the impact of this industry is upon our economy, with great jobs, typically high-paying jobs, and yet also to recognize we've got some work to do. There's a lot more to be done in order to make Georgia and the Atlanta area in particular more desirable for technology companies who may be looking for a place to begin their work if they're new, a startup, or to come to an area that's conducive and has the resources, both in terms of people and talent, and then obviously the wonderful resources we have in our university system here, particularly Georgia Tech and Emory in Atlanta. So just overall a very positive report, and yet given the economy and where we are, some concern, obviously, that we position ourselves to be in a good place once the economy turns and we can start ramping back up again.
Well, very good, and we appreciated the time to talk about this. And as you mentioned, that certainly there's a lot to feel good about in respect to where Georgia's positioned. And my hope was, as we move out of this current economic crisis, that our state and our legislators would be in a position to look at it, where we need to invest to really drive what I call this big gorilla of technology that could become the number one or two industry in the state at some point in time. So your leadership in that area is greatly appreciated. One of the things that has been kicking around for longer than I've been in this job, which is 4 years, is this alternative funding bill. Last year it was called Senate Bill 80. And I know a lot of our listeners, because we get calls and letters, and when we're out there meeting, they're very interested to see some version of this passed. And for our listeners, it's basically that we're now the only state, as I understand it, that doesn't allow for use of retirement funds for alternative investments. So any thoughts about that? I know you're a supporter of it.
Yes, I am indeed. I share the goal of your association. We want to see Georgia become a top 5 state for technology and science. And certainly one of the missing components, as far as I'm concerned, is our inability to allow the resources of the employee retirement system in Georgia, which is obviously billions of dollars, to utilize a percentage of those funds to make alternative investments in technology and startups and venture capital ways. And so I'm hopeful that we will make some progress on that issue during this session. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and unfortunately there are some groups who have a vested interest in getting the misinformation out there and stirring up people against this idea. But, what we're talking about is obviously a very reasonable and very small percentage that might be allowed for this purpose. And I absolutely as a business person myself, I don't have any problem with it, and it's an easy thing to support. We've just got to do a better job of communicating both the importance of it and maybe challenging some of the misinformation that's out there for those who use fear, as a means to drive sentiment against such a proposal. So we've got our work cut out for us, and perhaps, in all candor, the economy and the state of the market right now works against us just a little bit as well. But I hope we'll get this done in due course.
Well, we appreciate your support. As we hear from the federal side and the Obama plan, the stimulus plan, and also I know Governor Perdue has a stimulus plan that's in the works, and I wondered what you thought about I guess I'll ask this question in the way of terms of tech infrastructure investment in the state. Some things that we discussed yesterday, and I know you've been looking at for a long time, the state of Georgia has, is putting medical records online, our trauma system, investing in the university system. What are your thoughts about that, both short-term and long-term? Will there be some, do you see money coming from the federal or from the state that could be used to maybe solve some of these issues or move these issues forward?
Well, I'm certainly hopeful that that is the case. Of course, we're all waiting on what the package is ultimately going to be from Washington as we speak. I think it's gone through the House, and now the Senate will be taking it up.
Right.
But we've got a lot of work to do. I know the governor and a lot of the things that we probably all have heard about coming out of Washington are things that are about helping people get back to work. A lot of infrastructure investment, and a lot of that in Georgia, will be in terms of some of our universities and tech schools and helping them get some buildings built and some equipment, including technology, in place. But we've got a lot of work to do. I, for example, would like to see us make an investment in helping to extend the reach of broadband capabilities throughout the state. It's pretty good in our major cities and certainly around Atlanta, but there are many other areas of the state where it's just really not up to what it needs to be. And so we do need to make investment in our technology system in the state, and I think this would, if we have the funds made available to make some of these investments, that would be a good place to put some of those funds. Certainly the medical issue, anything related to that at the moment is very important for our state. I've been working for several years now to help improve the state's trauma system, and technology is obviously a part of that. We're looking at telemedicine. We're looking at communications infrastructure so that we can get people when they have serious injuries to the exact place they need to go and do it in a timely basis, and that involves technology and communications. Certainly medical records is something that is very important, and a lot of areas of the country, including I guess our federal government, is interested in some initiatives that will help do that because it's going to be a great boon to be able to have medical records online and available, and to move away from the cumbersome system we currently seem to have that makes it very difficult to get that information quickly and when it's needed. So we're doing a lot of different things. We're certainly trying to ramp up in the state to improve our training and in terms of physicians and healthcare professionals. And I'm fascinated about what some of the medical schools are doing in our state. I've visited them and talked to the leaders at our medical colleges because they're having now to incorporate more and more technology into the training of our physicians, and that's a good thing. So
yes,
lots of things going on out there, and I'm hopeful that we will have resources both from the federal level and at the state level that we'll make as an investment that will help further us down the road in some of these areas.
Well, I'm sure I speak for our listening audience to say I know that you're having probably one of the tougher sessions, and we can empathize. Your group has to find $2 billion+ in reductions. So it doesn't sound like the year that you're going to make everyone happy, Senator. But hopefully we'll come out of this. And again, we appreciate your leadership.
Well, you're absolutely right. It is a very tough environment. This is my 5th session, and the toughest one, no doubt. And what we're dealing with is unprecedented economically in modern times. I mean, you have to go back to the 20s or 30s to come even close. So it's, we have to hunker down. We have to be careful, make wise decisions. But it's going to be a painful process. But I'm hoping that even in the midst of that, we'll be able to set some priorities, because that's what leadership is really about, and make some decisions which are going to put us in a good position so that when the economy does turn, and it will, we all know that, these things are cyclical, when it turns, Georgia will be in a good position to move forward on all of these fronts and to make some headway. We want to make sure that Georgia is at the forefront as best it can be. Obviously, we're a leader in the Southeast, but we have ambitions to be more than that, and I certainly like that goal of transforming Georgia into a top 5 state for technology and science, and as long as I'm on this committee and chairman of it, I want to be a part of that process.
Well, that sounds like a good place to end the call, shooting to be in the top 5 in respect to technology states in our nation, and I think we can do it, and we really appreciate what you're doing, and thanks for joining me today on Tech Talk.
Thank you very much, Tino. Good to be with you.